everyone celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility. I want you to know that your president sees you. Jill, Kamala, Doug, our entire administration sees you for who you are, made in the image of God and deserving of dignity, respect, and support. But we know it's hard when there are those out there who don't see you and don't respect you. For example, the onslaught of anti-transgender state laws attacking you and your families is simply wrong. This administration is standing up for you against all these hateful bills. And we're committed to advancing transgender equality in the classroom, on the playing field, at work, in our military, in our housing and healthcare systems, everywhere, simply everywhere. Today, we're announcing even more steps, but there's always more work to do to end the epidemic of violence against transgender women of color and girls of color. Be there with you. To parents of transgender children, affirming your child's identity is one of the most powerful things you can do to keep them safe and healthy. To any transgender American who's struggling, please know that you're not alone.
Small town underground. This is truly a fly by the seat of your pants episode that we have decided. My friend Jerry Paris is here with me. So we're just going to dive right in. First off, I want you to right now. Well, I have no bones about it, and I'm going to let Jerry also elaborate a little on this, but we had a phone call earlier. We spent about part of the weekend together as this was unfolding over this Easter weekend, where the President of the United States come out with his proclamation proclaiming Transgender Visibility Day. And so without the context, and as the news and the Twitterverse, the Xverse, whatever you call it, is going wild, and we are down here in reality trying to do our thing and live our life and deal with this, right? Because you know, yesterday was I was a bit furious this morning and planning on coming out publicly scorched earth policy, which we'll get to that in a little bit. And after having a conversation with my friend Jerry and telling him what I was going to us right now. So
absolutely.
You want to elaborate on that a little?
Yeah. I've been very upset all weekend over the same thing, just like Roy just talked about. And Sunday, I went to church, and I was telling everybody, I go to church at Ebenezer Baptist. I'm calling you guys out again. Amen. Great church. So I told Brother Mike Yancey, I said, did you hear what your president did? And he said, man, I try not to get into politics, but what did he do? I said, well, he just declared today the day of transgender visibility. And he looked at me. So his sermon, obviously, it's Easter Sunday. He's going through the resurrection of Christ. And in the middle of it, he says, Jerry, tell us what your president did. And I said, verbatim, well, he's not our president. He's a resident. Long story short, I told the whole congregation. There was no silence. Everybody is like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we found out the truth.
Yeah. And that's right. We're going to bring you the truth today, because sometimes the truth will reveal more than the gaslight that's going on, right? And to me, I feel like I'm far more aware of the implications, let alone what happened this weekend, right?
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you guys a sad truth. Out because there's some information that you need to know about this Transgender Day of Visibility. And I think before we go into all this, I want you to keep in mind that this is not an attack on the transgender community. You need to understand, like, it's been going on for far longer than this, okay?
Well, and it's not an attack on the transgender society or any homosexuals or anything like that. It's also not an attack on the Christians. And
Absolutely.
we want to make this plain. And so I pulled up a verse here. It's Hosea 4:6. I want to read that, and then we can go on with this. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a reject thee, and thou shalt not be no priest for me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will even forget your children. So we have to do research to figure.
All of this.
Oh yeah.
And, it needs to be, because you need to know exactly, when we talk about fifth generational warfare, this is fifth generational warfare to a T. How you cannot trust all the information that's
They're
coming
good.
at you, regardless. I mean, I want to start with this article here, because this was the article that kind of broke us, right? And mind you, I think both of us were prepared to go completely scorched earth. For it is very alarming to think about that. Most of the things that he said back in 2021 have already came to pass. So let's look at this article real quick. So this is Politico, and mind you, the reason I'm always pulling up the mainstream articles is because you need to have visibility. Cue the culture war, right? So at first glance, I'm reading this kind of, stomach churning article.
Yep.
The culture wars have reached Easter, and it said President.
So the research ensued.
As Easter Sunday falls on March 31st this year, conservatives responded furiously, accusing the president, who is Catholic, of attempting to stifle Christian values by highlighting the event during an important religious holiday. Which you can see how easy this is to get misconstrued, right? The controversy, which has galvanized conservatives, which transgender advocates say is manufactured, is the latest in as a way to celebrate transgender people and raise awareness of the discrimination they face. It says Easter falls on a different date each year that is determined by a calculation related to lunar phases. The overlap between the two this year is coincidental. Now, I didn't believe that at first until I had to go back and do some research. It is common for there to be multiple proclamations of the same date, which I thought was hilarious, that Easter Sunday will also be Cesar Chavez Day. So, Oh my goodness. So that's the
top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Go all the way to the top. I believe it's this one. No, it was another one. It was at the proclamation where there is a Easter bunny.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get to that in a second. We can go ahead and cover that now. So, like I said, we are doing this. Let's go ahead and get rid of that.
Where we're getting at, folks, is this was a 100% gaslight from the White House.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, which has much bigger implications than what they did this weekend. We'll cover these other two articles that we went in. Across the nation this Easter by making a proclamation for Transgender Day of Visibility. It is a random day created by a random person out of Michigan, which is correct. No president has even marked it as any sort of proclamation until 2021. Now, this is another key takeaway that we'll come back to. They could have observed it on any other day. Biden chose to observe it on Easter. I think it was with intention. It's a thumb in the face of Christians and Easter. Now, that's going to be another important thing we're gonna circle back to.
Yeah, this is Fox News helping.
Claimed in 2021 during the Biden's time in the president's office. I wouldn't say his presidency, but in his
first year.
Yeah, and it says some more of this stuff. Here's one of his tweets about blah yada yada. It is a perfect slap in the face, but
yeah,
it's not a I'm saying it's on the 31st. If you get what I'm saying. So I'm not going to read all of this. I mean, as human beings, we're imperfect, we're fallible, we're sinful, we're all these bad things, blah, yada, yada, which is why they try to protect us from ourselves and the way they devise their government. It's just more gaslighting. the right wing who's taking a narrative to it. You have the left wing who's taking a narrative. It seems like both of these sides are kind of using this for people like us in the middle to create this emotional response that is, that will get us in.
April the 20th, which is going to be Easter Sunday next year, then we'll know that this was the slap.
Well, I mean,
it was.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out at this particular weekend how things fall. You know, March 31st being a actually see if we could find, let's see here, the proclamations. So from each year. So we'll start with this one real quick. This is the official proclamation. Let me pull this up. Everybody can see it. This is the official proclamation for 2024. As you can note, they got the little White House, the Easter Bunny, all these things. So
Easter eggs.
Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to figure out. Great, wonderful. All right. So there's part of our investigative reporting here. Then we will go back to, here is 2023, which was done on March the 31st, which was not. The proclamation of 2021.
It's the same thing.
Same exact thing. Notice how this started after 2020 with Joe Biden. So.
Yeah, and my ultimate question is, if you're going to do this, do it in the middle of April.
Yeah,
or do it in the middle of March. And,
right.
But obviously they know what they're doing.
Here is the person who created this. This was from the 2024. Trans Day Visibility began 15 years ago. The founder is still moved by its success. So there is the Transgender Michigan. She also runs the Transgender Michigan Helpline.
I wonder what a psychotherapist and a transgender person has in common.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. It's kind of strange, isn't it? That's weird.
It says its founder that way. The weekend celebrations have the rights become increasingly restricted across the U.S. in recent years. I don't even know what that means, increasingly restricted, but I'm not even going to waste time on that. But this is where the meat and potatoes are. In 2009, Crandall Crocker wanted a reason to come together and feel joy. At the time, the only holiday she knew of geared towards trans people was Transgender Day of Remembrance on November 20th. Crandall said she chose the springtime date because she wanted some distance from Transgender Day of Remembrance as well as Pride Month, which is in June. So there's a whole Pride Month in June, and then there's a Day of Remembrance in the 20th.
I think she misspoke, because on the paragraph next to the last there it says, Crandall, who has a Tourette syndrome, said organizing International Transgender Day of Visibility taught her an invaluable lesson. So she may have misspoke because she's got Tourette syndrome.
Right. Yeah, ain't that the truth? So basically, I think it was wise. We have a few takeaways here from this. Through this is that, it's very disturbing, the fact that our President of the United States would make a proclamation in direct defiance of the resurrection and Easter and all of these things, right?
Slapping God in the mouth, yeah.
Yeah, slapping God. Are far greater, because the fact that this has been going on for 15 years and now it's being recognized by the White House and this current administration speaks volumes to me about the culture war and how it's been going on far longer and trying to be normalized far longer than any of us realize, until we wake up and our president is doing this on Easter.
Exactly. In my opinion, that's exactly what they tried to do on this.
So what does that make us look like? That makes us look like a bunch of emotional sacks. It makes us look stupid, and it weakens our argument if we don't know the reality of the situation.
God's words. in the first sense, but the second sense, all I'm doing is bringing the truth out. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged around his neck and him to be cast into the sea than he should offend or deceive one of my little ones. Okay? So the big deal is this. When you deceive a child, and that's what's going on. When we were in high school, or even elementary school, and you could go to the library and get a Hustler magazine, I'd be the first one in line. Would you? Okay, so you're indoctrinating these kids, 100%. I'm not putting down people because they believe a certain way. I'm saying children should not be indoctrinated in this way. Period. So
Agreed. I think my takeaway here is really simple. Like, for starters, this would be a wake-up call in the knee-jerk reaction, because I don't condone any of this stuff. I mean,
No.
not condoning a bit of it, but we're trying to speak truth to power, right? Freedom, the Constitution, all these things. But so many times we have to continually fact-check everything that we do to a T, because at the slightest bit of anything I say, and even sometimes opposition, an easy out to discredit me for what it is.
absolutely.
And so I feel like we're doing more of a service to understand that this is something that's been going on. This is a particular coincidence, even though it's probably a division across everything.
And this
right?
is how smart they are. They put it on a rolling holiday.
Yes.
Every year, Easter is on a different day.
Yeah.
They knew this, and that's part of the gaslight.
Right.
And who knew it would take 15 years?
Yeah.
But it did.
And it did. And it's only been proclaimed since this Biden administration. I doubt
Right.
the next administration really fighting with each other and gaslighting. And I think my point to this is that you need to understand that. You need to understand that everything that comes out and comes at us is meant for division. All this has been going on for 15 years, and this is where these administrations and these psychotherapists and these institutional organizations are trying to take this culture. And they've been doing it under our noses forever.
The evil cabal, 150 years.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I feel like it was something that needs to be said. And I will say this, we are in a civil war in our culture with all of these things going on. Christians in this nation are under attack. Jesus is under the way that they can propagandize information, and even from the right and from the left, in order to engagement, to make clicks, to bring up things to talk about, to create more stories. Look, this stuff's been going on for a long time.
Here's one thing you don't want to do. Don't get dead. And if we would literally, I can see a lot of people mad because of this. And I'm mad. And Crandall and Obama for starting it out.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, we know where things like this end up, and it's not good in a society. And we can look at history and see this, but we also understand you're getting, and that you can watch the government make their assessment before the smoke has settled.
Yeah.
You got to be able to see past all of this stuff and see who is trying to manipulate and control you. In this particular case, this is a huge to become angry and become emotional and take things into our own hands, and they want to get us out of our comfort zone to where we would create some sort of violent issues or do something that would help
need consolement, if you need to discern, go to the Bible
Absolutely.
and do the research on some of this stuff. And coming out and saying something about it. We all know. I'm a Christian. Roy's a Christian. We don't believe in what they're doing, and it's not for us to believe it. It's for us to say, you can look, do whatever you.
It comes from, you need to be aware that this has been going on for far, far longer than we've all ever known.
Absolutely.
And that's the real takeaway here. It's not what happened over the weekend. It's what has been going on. And so this is why we need people focused. We need for a good long while. You need to know that. So
Yep.
that's really all I got. So it's a lot different
Take a deep
sitting
breath.
down. Yeah, take a deep breath, y'all. Like I said, we're in this for the long haul. This is
It's not
this
going
is
to
stuff
end.
you need to know. Research it for yourself. Find out before movement, right? It's all going to be that way. That's why we need you out voting. That's why we need you involved in your local communities and your groups and people that are trying to strengthen their communities and not tear them down.
Absolutely, and you got to have a rule, and the rule should be from now on. It didn't just happen Friday.
Nope. This has been a long time in the making, and the more you know, the better off you're going to be prepared. So,
Amen.
well, thanks everybody. I appreciate you, Jerry. I think we learned some stuff today. And
We
now
did.
We learned